They're 5-0 in special elections. The truth is they're 4-0, but it still doesn't bode well for Democrats. Joining us now from Capitol Hill, Democratic Congressman Tim Ryan of Ohio. You'll remember he mounted an unsuccessful challenge last year to Nancy Pelosi's leadership in the House. Congressman, good to see you.
Details, Willie, whatever.
Yeah,
So you wrote a post to Medium yesterday that's getting a lot of attention. I want to read part of it. After the Democratic Party's losses in Georgia and South Carolina on Tuesday, you write, quote, Archie Parnell, the candidate in South Carolina, and John Ossoff were good candidates who ran solid campaigns. In the end, they were brought down by the National Democratic Party brand. I'm tired of the excuses. I'm tired of being told that we exceeded expectations. I don't believe in moral victories. The only measure of success in political campaigns is victory. I don't believe everyone should get a trophy. Here is the truth. The Democratic Party has a toxic brand, one that is worse than Donald Trump's in many parts of the country. It makes me sick to my stomach that my party, that historically has done so much good, is seen as disconnected and out of touch with working class families. We are heading into July, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but our party does not have a clear economic message. Are you kidding me? So, Congressman, that's what you posted last night. Let me just ask you, if you'd been in leadership, if you'd won that election in November against Nancy Pelosi, what would you have done differently in Georgia, for example, to get that candidate to victory?
Well, you know, one of the strategies there was not to make it a national campaign, which we didn't. But at the end, I think a stealth ground game, a stealth get out the vote effort. We have a strong African-American population in that congressional district. And we came in very late in that district to try to get the turnout. And I think if we would have put a few more resources, not even that many, but a few more, we would have been able to get the 3,000 votes. We had a great candidate down there in Archie Parnell. He was a wonderful candidate. I went down to South Carolina and campaigned with him. But a little bit of money on the ground towards the end would have definitely got us home. And, you know, we spent, $20+ million in Georgia and only a couple $100,000 in South Carolina. Could have made the difference.
So what is the problem with the Democratic Party's brand? This is something you've been talking about as long as we've known you, for a couple of years now. What is the problem exactly, and how do you go about fixing it?
Well, we don't have a strong economic message. You know, when I was growing up and you'd ask my grandfather, my grandmother, why are we Democrats? And it was the Democrats are for working class people. And we've lost that message. We are for so many people, and we are for so many very, very important issues, Willie, that I'm for. But the thing that ties, African Americans and Latinos and the LGBT community and women all together is that we all want economic opportunity for our families. We all want an opportunity to grab the next rung in the economic ladder, and people don't look at the Democrats for this. Small business people don't look at the Democrats for this, and we need to make sure that we have that message that's going to grow the economy and get people back to work. Not this, we're going to train you for some job that may or may not come down the pike. It's no, we need to rebuild the country. You're going to work now, and we'll train you while you're hired as an apprentice to get you back to work. So those are the kind of very simple, straightforward things we need to do.
Is there too much focus, Congressman, on social issues in the Democratic Party and not enough on economic?
Well, those issues are very important, and I don't think we should yield any ground at all on those issues because they're vital to our society. When you're talking about refugees, you're talking about a woman's right to choose, when you're talking about voting rights. These are immigration reform. These are really important, but when you're going to be a national party, you need to have a national message. And what's the thing that binds all those groups together? It's an economic message. So we've got to stand for those issues. We got to fight for those issues, but the thrust of our message needs to be an economic one, because no matter who's hearing you, and you may be with them on the other issues, they know that you're talking about what they're thinking about every day at their own kitchen table.
So, Congressman, let's talk a bit about part of the disappearing base of the Democratic Party, unions. Every election year and every off-election year, you have the heads of unions show up with guys like you, people like you saying, yeah, we're with the Democratic Party. The membership flees. Large portions of the membership flees when it comes to actually voting for a Democrat. How did you lose them?
Well, I think just in general, we've got a lot of challenges. Globalization was a huge challenge. Automation is even a bigger challenge coming down the pike. So I feel like it's those rank and file Democratic union members that voted Democrat for a generation, all of a sudden said, you guys aren't really fixing my issue for me. You know, you're not making my life necessarily easier. You're not making things better. These factories in places like Youngstown, Ohio, or Warren, Ohio used to have 16,000 people. Now they have 3. What have the Democrats done? And that's why Trump didn't really run as a Republican. That's why he pulled so many Democrats. He ran as almost anti-establishment, anti-both parties. And so, Mike, I just think we need a real economic message that's going to say, okay, how are we going to put these folks to work? And how are we going to put them to work in real jobs that are needed and jobs that can't be outsourced to China? You know, I talked a lot on this program about redoing our energy grid. Those jobs can't be outsourced. Laying Google fiber and high-end fiber lines all over the country. Those jobs can't be outsourced. How do we get jobs outside of Washington, from Washington, D.C. to smaller communities around the country? Good federal jobs. How do we get these people back to work? And let's come up with some creative ways to say, you're hired, you're going to get paid, let's rebuild the country.